Vika Giridhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupar Shuttara Shutta Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosvāmī Mahārāja Śrīla Gurudev Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupar Shuttara Shutta Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupar Shuttara Shutta Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Swami Mahārāja Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupar Shuttara Shutta Shishimar Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava Gosvāmī Mahārāja Śrīla Param Gurudev Ki Jai. Tadya Shubha Avirbhav Titi Vyas Puja Mahotsav Ki Jai. Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupar Shuttara Shutta Shishimar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosvāmī Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Śrīla Gorksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishta Śrīla Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Śrīla Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath. Shri Jeev Gopal Bhattadas Raghunath Sharda Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Śrīla Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Gora Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sarva Abhishta Bhadatta Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda Ki Jai. Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vinda Devi Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya Ki Jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. I'll do Mangalacharan and then begin. Today let's do Mangalacharan from, I'll use the songbook. Sorry. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavankscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitantang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitangscha Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Shri Radhika Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayaniti Namine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Keśava Bhinna Rupine Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Vamaniti Namine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Acharya Singha Rupine Shri Srimad Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava iti namine. Attimartya Charitraya Swashritanang Chapaline Jiva Dukhe Sadartaya Shri Nama Premadayine Gaurashraya Vigrahaya Krishna Kamaikacharine Rupanuga Pravaraya Vinodeti Swarupine Prabhupadantarangaya Sarvasargunashaline Maya Varatamognaya Vedantartha Vide Namaha. Let's look at the translation for this quickly. I offer pranam to the lion-like Acharya, Om Vishnupad Shri Śrīla Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava Gosvāmī Mahārāja. His character and activities are supramundane, and he protects and nurtures those who take shelter of him. He is always aggrieved to see the suffering of the living entities, and he bestows love for Sri Nam. He is the shelter of love for Gauranga, and his every action is solely to fulfill the desires of Sri Krishna. He is best among the followers of Śrīla Rupa Goswāmī, and in his internal identity, he is Vinod Manjari. He is an intimate associate of Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, and he is endowed with all auspicious qualities. He eradicates the darkness of Mayavad and knows the true meaning of Vedanta. I offer pranam to him. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine. Namo Gorakishoraya Shakshad Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambara Sambhode Padam Bujayate Namaha. Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaur Shakti Sarupaya Rupanugavarayate Gauravirbhava Bhumistang Nirdeshta Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannatayate Namaha. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo mahavadanyaya krishna prema pradayate krishnaya krishna chaitanya namne gauratishe namaha. He Krishna karuna sindho dinabandho jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vrindayai Tulsi Devai Priyayai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Satyavatai Namo Namaha. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams, dear devotees. Let's see who's there. Nitai Mukeshji, Krishna Premavati Didi, Champak Mataji, Deepika Didi, Sarveshwari Mataji, and Karuna Didi. Pranams everybody. And let's see on YouTube and Facebook. I see Bhakti 1008. Nitai Gaur Haribo. And there are a few other devotees. If you write a comment, I'll see your name. I'm guessing Shri Mataji and Indira Mataji are there. Don't know who else is there though. So yeah, please leave a comment. Then I'll see who you are. And also pranams to all the devotees watching in the future, like Shachi Devi, Jayade Prabhu, Krishna Vallabha Didi, Ananda Pradayini Didi, Anuradha Mataji, Vrinda Didi, Krishna Mai Didi, and Janava Didi, if Janava is watching. Hare Krishna, Rajkishori Didi, Haribo. So we are, today is the auspicious 128th Vyas Puja day of my Param Gurudev Nitya Lila Pravishta Shishimad Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava Gosvāmī Mahārāja. So today I thought we could read from the book Kṛti-ratna. Let's just see. I didn't actually, like normal, I didn't have anything planned, so we can just figure it out now. What am I looking for? Kṛti-ratna. Okay, so one thing we could do is we could read the let's look at the table of contents. So we won't read any of these articles by Param Gurudev. I really like reading the letters. but maybe we should read some glorifications of him. And then if there's time at the end, we could read some letters. So these are glorifications from our Param Gurudev's godbrothers. His godbrothers and his god sister. And then here are homages from Śrīla Trivikram Gosvāmī Mahārāja, Śrīla Vāman Gosvāmī Mahārāja, Śrīla Trivikram Gosvāmī Mahārāja, and Śrīla Gurudev. Wonder how long this section is. Let's see. Let's go to the transcendental. I'll just write character of Guru Padma. Let's see how long this is. Because if it's not way too long, maybe we can just read those three. Why is it not coming? Oh, that's annoying. Here. Okay, let's see how long this is. Wow, Śrīla Vāman Gosvāmī Mahārāja is long. Well, maybe we can just skip. We can skip through parts of this because it would be nice to read something from Śrīla Bhakti Vāman Gosvāmī Mahārāja, and so we can maybe skip over some parts, right? Because how long is this altogether? This is, yeah, it's almost 5,000 words. Yeah, we can't read this full thing, but let's read parts of it. Okay. So the transcendental character of Sri Guru Padma by Sri Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Vāman Gosvāmī Mahārāja. When Paramaradhyatama Śrīla Keśava Gosvāmī Pad was commenting on Vairagya Yug Bhakti Rasa Prajñāna, Bhakti Ras, when he commented on the Bhakti Ras imbued with renunciation from Srila Raghunath Das Goswami's Vilap Kusmanjali, text 6, he explains that another name for renunciation for Vairagya is Krishnendriya Priti Vancha Maya Vipralamba, the intense feeling of separation from Krishna that consists of the desire to please his senses. Vairagya that trivializes Brahma Gyan, the knowledge of the impersonal aspect of Bhagavan, and inspires contempt, fear, and disregard for Sayujya Mukti and other forms of liberation, is enlightened renunciation, since it consists solely of the desire to give happiness to Sri Krishna. For spiritual practitioners, Vairagya means the renunciation of all enjoyment for the pleasure of Krishna. But for liberated personalities, Vairagya means devotion to Krishna's service. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami has pointed out that Vairagya Yukta Bhakti Ras, or renunciation in devotion, entails abstention from mundane action that is characterized by detachment, knowledge, and devotional engagement. The Mayavad conception of renunciation, which excludes the existence of transcendental delights, can never be called actual Vairagya. When used to describe a specific quality of Bhagavan who is endowed with the 6 opulences of divinity, the word Vairagya refers to his natural position, as he is Mayadish, the lord of the illusory energy. Bhakti can never be attained by artificially practicing renunciation while performing solitary meditation, nirjan bhajan. Nor is the renunciation of those souls who hanker for liberation ever a cause of the attainments of pure devotion. Those who are not well versed in spiritual truth think that Vairagya means gross renunciation. But we find in the Shastras that Vairagya is actually the most exalted state of longing for Krishna's loving pastimes. The renunciation of Prakrit Sahajias, those who superimpose mundane sentiment onto transcendental matters, so the renunciation of Prakrit Sahajias and those who abstain from material pleasure is a fickle and deceitful means of satisfying their underlying desires. Only through the eyes of bhakti can one see or realize the eternally perfect renunciation of the eternally perfect Mahatmas, the focus of which is Shri Krishna's happiness. Detachment and omniscience are naturally evident in the lives of exalted personalities. Sorry, I had a Okay. Detachment and omniscience are naturally evident in the lives of exalted personalities. They know who is simply engrossed in satiating the senses in the name of serving Hari, and as omniscient witnesses, they give sincere practitioners the chance to escape the clutches of such hypocrisy. And when they see people who are inclined to be of service, they offer them encouragement, thereby showing what it means to care for and protect those who truly wish to serve. Keshariva swapotanam anyesham ugra vikrama. This is a verse composed by Śrīla Swami in his commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam 791. It means, the lioness nurtures her offspring tenderly, but is ferocious to her enemy. We see the word Keshariva. So we refer to Param Gurudev as Acharya Keshari. So this is I'm sure he's, yeah. So he says, similarly, to the atheists and hypocrites, Srila Guru Padma was the punisher, like death personified. But he was full of loving parental affection for his disciples and those who had taken shelter of him. He would rectify their hundreds of faults and mistakes, and give them the chance to serve and remain engaged in Hari Bhajan. He would provide anyone who came to his math or missions for Hari Bhajan, even if they were aged, ill, or devoid of any worldly qualifications. So he would provide those people with shelter and the opportunity to perform Hari Bhajan. This demonstrates beyond doubt his brilliant example of complete surrender to Sri Krishna, his mercy and magnanimity, his compassionate nature, his tendency to help all, and his sorrow upon seeing the suffering of others. Politicians say, Satyam bruyat priyam bruyat ma bruyat satamapriyam. They say, speak the truth, and speak it in a pleasing manner. Do not utter unpalatable truth. Guru Padma, however, would loudly insist wherever he went that the right thing to do is to speak the truth no matter how unpleasant. If we do not speak the truth, then the many secrets of scripture will not be revealed and broadcast in this world. Sadhu, Guru, and Vaishnavas want the real welfare of the people of the world, and even if their piercing words are not initially pleasing, they are nonetheless the cause of complete auspiciousness. In this connection, Venerable Srila Gurudev has written, he said, nowadays we see the publication of many religious magazines that are gradually deviating from the rules and regulations established and propagated by Acharya Kesari Jagadguru Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, and that are headed down a different path. The main cause for this is a desire for worldly gain, name, and fame. We should always remember the teaching of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Dharma cannot be protected unless one is unbiased and detached. If maintaining complete impartiality entails facing even the greatest adversities, one should embrace them to set an example for the rest of the world. The cutting words and criticisms uttered by saintly persons, the cutting words and criticisms uttered by saintly persons, Guru and Vaishnavas, bring about one's good fortune and remove the difficulties and obstacles related to bhajan. Their unbiased ethics, disciplinary assertions, and treatment of the blunt, bitter truth are like healing mantras that result in one's obtaining taste for chanting Shri Nam. So we see in his pranam mantra, he says, Shri Nama Prema Pradayine. because everything he did was ultimately increasing our taste for chanting Sri Nam. Let's read maybe 2 more parts, and then we will move on to Śrīla Gosvāmī Mahārāja's glorification. So, Śrīla Guru Maharaj displayed unparalleled love and sympathy for his godbrothers. Many godbrothers came to visit him, and just from the very way they addressed him affectionately, either as Vinoda or Keśava Maharaj, he could tell what their situation was, and would help them as best he could, either financially or otherwise. Meanwhile, he personally never expected any financial assistance. He thus generously and selflessly gave thousands of rupees to help others. We can confidently say that he had great love for his godbrothers. Satirtha Vatsalya. Śrīla Bhakti Madhav Goswami Mahārāja is glorified in the same way also. All sorts of people would come to see him: scholars, those who prided themselves as being devotees, the ignorant, the clever, children, youths, and the elderly. But when they saw his gentle, calm appearance, heard his grave and authoritative voice, and beheld his slight smile and beautiful face, they would all forget their various motives and demands. Even when refuting impersonalist logicians, he never humiliated them, but always preserved their dignity. Many people, influenced by ulterior motives, sought his advice on various matters, but they could not take to heart the true power of such a saintly personality who is so exclusively devoted to Krishna. How can ordinary people grasp the transcendental behavior of eternally perfected great souls? Generally, people do not and cannot understand what a great soul is. They cannot understand when a great soul is bestowing mercy and when he is deluding them. His view was, no one in this world is an object of my attachment or indifference. All are instrumental in serving Guru and Krishna. This is the transcendent perspective of a Mahabhagavat. I just thought it was interesting how Śrīla Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava was talking about how our Param Gurudev would say, if we do not speak the truth, then the many secrets of he's saying how Param Gurudev would loudly insist wherever he went that the right thing to do is to speak the truth no matter how unpleasant. If we do not speak the truth, then the many secrets of Scripture will not be revealed and broadcast in this world. But at the same time, also, even when refuting impersonalist logicians, he never humiliated them, but always preserved their dignity. So it doesn't mean, to always speak the truth doesn't mean that, this is referring to the truth, not just like how we speak in general. Okay. As mentioned previously, Śrīla Guru Maharaja's novelty and speciality were evident in the execution of his every act. On either side of Narahari Toran, the main gate of Sri Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti's main preaching center, Sri Devananda Gaudiya Mata Navadip, he placed sculptures he had fashioned of a lion subduing a rogue elephant, which symbolizes the destruction of atheism, Pashanda Gajaika Singha, thus praising Sri Chaitanya Chandra, the enemy of Mura, in the tradition of Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. Yeah, because that is a pranam mantra to Mahaprabhu. How does it go? Jaya Nava Pradipa Pancha Pradipa. How does it go? Anyways, it's that verse from Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. Pashanda Gajaika Singha, something like that. Sri Krishna Chaitanya. God, I can't think of it right now. Śrīla Gurudev's close godbrother, Śrīla Bhakti Saranga Gosvāmī Mahārāja, awarded him with that same title, Pashanda Gajaika Singha. And you see that same sculpture in Keshavji Gaudiya Mata in Mathura also, right at the outside. It was as if he were always ready, sword in hand, to defeat Mayavadis and other opponents of Shuddha Bhakti. Regarding such entities as his eternal enemies, he made an unshakable vow to uproot Sri Shankar's Advaitavad or Mayavad from this world. He clearly expressed this determination in his letters, essays, articles, commentaries, explanations, statements, and lectures. And Srivas translated 24 articles, which are defeating Mayavad in a series called Achinta Beda Bhed. The revered Śrīla Bhakti Saranga Gosvāmī Mahārāja would say to Śrīla Guru Padma, he'd say, "When I see you, I am reminded of Śrīla Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Anyone whose darshan makes the memory of Śrīla Gurudev appear in the mind is Guru Sarup, the embodiment of Guru, and the greatest of all Mahabhagavats." It is said that all of Krishna's qualities appear in his devotees. Srila Acharya Dev had not passed exams in law or engineering, but he would give legal advice to lawyers and barristers, and he had also advised engineers. Many expert engineers were amazed to learn that the tilak-marked sky-high temple of the main mutt was constructed according to Srila Guru Maharaja's instructions and design. Jagadguru Srila Saraswati Thakur had said, "Protecting service to Srimati Radharani is essential for protecting our sacred lineage." By service to Srimati Radharani, he was referring to protecting mutts and temples from the clutches of sense enjoyers and wicked persons by means of litigation in courts of law. Srila Guru Padma followed the instructions of his most worshipable Srila Prabhupada and accepted the responsibility of protecting the mission by legal means. Even Prabhupada was amazed by his astonishing talent and power of memory. Once during an argument with some lawyers, Srila Guru Maharaja's godbrother, Srila Madhav Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Madhav Goswami Maharaj, asked him, "When did you study law so well that you could fight with lawyers and persuade them to accept your point of view?" You'll see in some of the letters that he writes, he says, according to the penal code, blah, 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 you should not be, like, he actually, yeah, he was, yeah. Okay, let's just read this section and then we'll stop. Sorry, I always have a hard time stopping whenever I start reading something. His literary contributions and novel ways of explaining philosophical truths are unparalleled. The ingenuity of his writing is forever solidified by the fact that he could maintain the innate mood and current of the key philosophical truths he addressed without succumbing to cliché. He regarded protection of the sampradaya, our disciplic succession, to be the topmost service to Sriman Mahaprabhu, and only after careful contemplation did he take up his formidable pen. His main goal was to establish tattva siddhanta, or conclusive philosophical truths, and he did so directly and indirectly through the medium of debates, exhibiting stunning otherworldly creativity. His songs, such as Srila Prabhupada Arati, Sri Tulsi Arati, and Mangal Arati, highlight his innovative genius. In the wake of the divine poet Sri Jayadev and his Geet Govinda poem, Srila Guru Maharaj and his Mangal Arati song hints at the unparalleled, sweet and intimate transcendental pastimes of the eternally youthful divine couple of Braj. Sometimes guests would arrive unexpectedly when Srila Guru Padma was dictating an article for Sri Patrika. But even after conversing with them at length about various topics, he would not lose track of the main subject of the article, nor experience any loss of interest in the task. Surely, this too was one of his super-mundane specialities, and Śrīla Bhakti Gosvāmī Mahārāja was a first-hand witness, the ultimate first-hand witness of this, because he was the scribe. He would, Param Gurudev would dictate articles to him, and Śrīla Bhakti Gosvāmī Mahārāja would write it all down. And he had a particular his own shorthands that he made so that he could write quickly. Okay, sorry guys, I can't stop. Let's read this section and then we'll finish. What time is it? Okay. More than anything, it was Srila Acharya Dev's undivided conviction in his own Sri Gurupad Padma that secured him a seat of distinction among his peers and followers. Always offering sound advice to his godbrothers on legal matters and various other concerns, he displayed a generous liberal disposition. He was renowned in the Saraswat Gaudiya community as an expert on ethics and policy, and a talented logician, because when complex spiritual questions or obscure logical dilemmas arose, he would offer profound, solid answers that concurred with spiritual precedent. Srila Acharya Dev set the standard for the faithful observance of holy fasting days like Shri Janmashtami, Shri Akadashi, Shri Gaur Jayanti, Shri Ram Navami, Shri Nrsimha Chaturdashi, Shri Advaita Saptami, and Shri Nityananda Trayodashi, careful to avoid fasting on days when two lunar dates overlap. You can see in his book of, there's a Prabandhavali, and he writes articles. There's like a few really heavy articles about when different people followed the Titi on the wrong day. And he read like a whole article about it. This is like, he was really strong about this point. And also he's saying, lots of Gaudiya monks don't follow Akadashi on Advaita Saptami. Like they don't eat Anukalpa, like they eat everything on Advaita Saptami, and some monks even on Nityananda Trayodashi. But he very strongly established that we fast on these days. So, but yeah, he's careful. So he set the standard, careful to avoid fasting on days when two lunar dates overlap. Such an overlap causes the sacred occasion to start well after sunrise, making it impossible to observe a full vow of fasting from one sunrise to the next during that holy lunar day. He ensured total strict observance of the rules and prohibitions of Chaturmasya and Urjavrat within his Sri Vedanta Samiti, adhering to the customs and example practiced and preached by Srila Saraswati Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and Sriman Mahaprabhu. He never encouraged or condoned any sort of negligence in observing Chaturmasya vows or the deceitful adulation of honoring only Urjavrat. He writes a whole thing about that in the introduction to Dhammatarashtakam. Once during a discussion on Tattva Siddhanta with the Venerable King of Renunciants, Srila Śrīla Gosvāmī Mahārāja, Srila Gurudev displayed his faith in his Guru, saying, "I have never met the previous Goswamis. I do not know them. I simply accept Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada's line of thought as the unerring truth, and I will try to know and understand the previous Goswamis through Srila Prabhupada's eyes. I will give his explanations and comments preference before all others. I will give Srila Prabhupada's explanations and commentaries preference before all others, even before the other Goswamis. Acharya Jay Mata Shay Mata Sar, Anya Ar Mata Jato Jauk Charakar." That means the opinion of the Acharya is the most important. Any other opinions are to be rejected. This is my viewpoint. His single-pointed faith in Srila Prabhupada is certainly unequaled. Okay, so now we will skip the rest of this. Beautiful glorification of Srila Vamana Goswami Maharaj. And now let's read from Srila Trivikram Goswami Maharaj. And pranams Amal Krishna Prabhu, Chatamai Mataji, and Nri Hari Prabhu, and Bhavatarani Mataji. So, reminiscing a drop of his glories. Just checking YouTube and Facebook to see who has joined also. I see Dandavat Pranams, Raseshwari Mataji, Shripad Bhakti-ranta, Sajan Maharaj, Dandavat Pranams Maharaj, and Rohini Nandan Prabhu, Ganga Mataji, and my father and mother, Rishabdev Prabhu and Nishchinta Devi. Wow, lots of people today. There's 18 people today. It's more than usual. Okay. One second. Sorry. Let's go back. What am I doing? Yeah. Let's see. Maybe should we read this or the poem from Srila Vamana Goswami? let's just read this, because then we'll move to Śrīla Gurudev. So, reminiscing a drop of his glories by Śrīla Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava Gosvāmī Mahārāja. And I think he wrote this, what year did he write this? I think he wrote this, I don't know actually, never mind. Okay. O Śrīla Gurudev, this fallen wretch is completely unqualified to extol your glories. Only those who, by your causeless mercy, have realized your exalted nature, are worthy of singing of your splendor. Of this there is no doubt. Still, Vaishnaver Gunagan Korile Jiver Tran, singing the glories of a Vaishnav, is the cause of a living entity's salvation. So following this statement, this abominable person is boldly endeavoring to write something for his own purification. You taught those desiring their spiritual welfare through your own ideal behavior, and are thus known as Acharya, one who teaches by example. Just as Sri Krishna flew in the sky holding onto the whirlwind's demon, Trinavarta, similarly, as a baby, you flew in the sky carried by a falcon, thereby revealing your super-mundane nature. I think you all know that story, right? Yeah. So through your observance of strict celibacy from infancy, you have proclaimed that association of women is wholly inappropriate for persons on the path of spirituality. I deem the glorification of you coming from the mouth of one who is attached to associating with women as ill-behooved. At a very tender age, you abandoned your virtuous and wealthy parents, and taking a solemn vow to completely fulfill your Sri Gurudev's inner heart's desire, you perfectly follow the statement, Ata Buddha abhajetang bhaktai kayesham Gurudeva tatma. Intelligent persons take shelter of Sri Gurudev, accepting him as their life and soul, and engage in exclusive devotion to Sri Krishna. It's from the verse Bhayam Dutiya Bhiniveshatasya, that's Srimad Bhagavatam 11-37. Pleased with your expertise and competence, your Sri Gurudev adorned you with the title Kṛti-ratna. After accepting sannyas, you traveled to all of the holy tirthas throughout India, tracing the steps of Shri Gaur Nityananda. Your devoted followers celebrate you as being non-different from Sri Ramanujacharya's disciple, Kuresh, in risking your life for your Gurudev. The local administration at the time was afraid of you due to your fearlessness. Because of your extraordinary expertise in the philosophy expounded in the scriptures, you are known as Acharya Kesari, the lion-like preceptor. You are the founder of the illustrious Sri Gaurivedanta Samiti. By your Gurudev's, Srila Prabhupada's causeless mercy, you preserved his standards and preaching. And are thus the protector of our disciplic line. Your divine form resembles that of Srila Prabhupada. Your book Mayavadir Jivani Vaishnava Vijay fully destroyed and buried the doctrine of Shankar. It is no exaggeration to say this. You defended the truth and boundaries of human propriety when you proclaimed before all in a learned assembly that anyone who proclaims a follower of Devi to be God will surely suffer in hell. In service to Sri Guru, you exchanged cloth with Srila Saraswati Thakur, and have thus been celebrated as a sannyas disciple by your intimate followers. I am utterly unqualified to describe your unlimited virtues. Yet, by your causeless mercy, I am direct proof of the statement, Pangu Langhayate Girim, that the mercy of Sri Guru enables the lame to cross mountains. In the way the Ganga is worshipped with Ganga water, I am humbly submitting this glorification to you. So that was Śrīla Gosvāmī Mahārāja. This is published in Bhagavat Patrika. And then he writes a poem, but we're going to skip that because we don't have so much time left. 15 minutes. So now let's read from Śrīla Gurudev. Oh, and Haribol Premamaya Didi. Okay, so now we are reading from here. This is Pushpa Chayanika. or Kusuma Chayanika. Yeah, Srila Acharya Dev ki Kripa Vaishishta Kusuma Chayanika. That means a collection of flowers, the speciality of Srila Acharya Dev's mercy. By our Srila Gurudev, Śrīla Bhakti Prajñāna Gosvāmī Mahārāja. At the top of the article, he writes, heralding auspiciousness for the entire world on the occasion of Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajracharya Ashtatara Shata Śrīla Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava Gosvāmī Mahārāja's 67th appearance day. And now, today is the 128th appearance day. So, quite a long time ago. This is while he was still manifest in this world. When he's 67 years old. Wow. What year would... I'm terrible with math, but anyways, doesn't matter. Okay. So then, Srila Gurudev begins the article with these Sanskrit verses. So, Namom Vishnu Padaya, Shri Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava, Shri Prabhupada Preshtaya, Gora Parshada Rupini. I offer obeisances unto Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava, dearly beloved of Srila Prabhupada, an associate of Gaur Hari. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishta Paripuraka Murtaye Gaura Saraswatamnaya Acharyaya Namo Namaha. You are the personified fulfillment of Shri Chaitanya's innermost desires, teacher of the divine Gaura Saraswat message. I bow repeatedly unto you. Gauranuragine tubhyam Shri Siddhanta Saraswati Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Sarupaya Namo Namaha. You are possessed of profound attachment for Shri Siddhanta Saraswati, and you are the personification of Shri Gaura's compassion potency. I bow unto you. Shri Rupanuga Siddhanta Vipakshi Mukha Mardine Krishna Tattvagya Samraje Kṛti-ratna Yate Namaha. You subdue and rectify those who antagonize the conclusions of the Rupanugas. You are the sovereign of those acquainted with the truth of Krishna, and you are Kṛti-ratna, which means each of your accomplishments is an exquisite jewel. I bow unto you. Wow, so this is like a new pranam mantras that I don't think anybody's seen before. It's published when he was, What year? I just want to see what year this is published. So this is published in 1963. In year 9, issue 12 of Bhagavad Patrika. 1963. Okay. So, first flower. So Chayanika means like flowers that have been plucked, right? Plucked flowers not being offered. And so there are, I think he offers 8 flowers. 8 glorifications. I address you, who fulfilled the heartfelt ambitions of Srila Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. You are his beloved companion and foremost of his heirs. Following Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada's disappearance pastime, the Rupanuga Saraswat Gaudiya current was forced to progress along a treacherous path, rife with innumerable obstacles. Srila Prabhupada's genuine servants were severely tested. The stories about this are heartrending. In that period, the preaching centers Srila Prabhupada had established began closing down one by one. The publications of the spiritual periodicals in Bengali, Hindi, English, and Sanskrit, namely the Gaudiya, Bhagavat, the Harmonist, and Sajantoshini, stopped. The worldwide reverberations of the Brihad Mridanga, or printing press that published literature concerning pure devotion, also ceased. Pilgrimages to Sri Navadvip Dham, Vrajamandal, Kshetramandal, and other places dwindled into obscurity. Those brahmacharis and others living in the Math whose faith was too tender gave up the Math lifestyle. Without shelter, they returned to their previous ashrams, their previous stations in life. Some of the brahmacharis and sannyasis scattered here and there and began performing bhajan in solitude, idly passing their lives somehow or other. Everyone became passive and bewildered through and through. During these dark days of Saraswat Gaudiya Vaishnavism, you established the Sri Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti. On Srila Prabhupada's order, received in a dream, you accepted Tridandi Sannyas in Shrikatwa, the sacred spot where Srimad Mahaprabhu enacted his sannyas lila. From Śrīla Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava, taking a firm vow to fulfill Srila Prabhupada's innermost desire and preach the message of Shri Gaur Hari, Shri Gaur Vani. You freed the checked flow of the Saraswat current and spread it not only throughout all of Bengal, but also Bihar, Assam, Odisha, Uttar Pradesh, and other places all over India. You were the first to revive Shri Navadvip Parikrama and to start publishing a monthly spiritual magazine, Shri Gaudiya Patrika, once again. You were even the first to revive pilgrimages to Vrajmandal, Kshetramandal, Dwarkadham, Badri Narayan Dham, Naimisharanya, and the holy places of South India, by which you reinitiated the preaching of Gaur-Vani everywhere. Revived and enthused by these actions you took to preach bhakti, your godbrothers followed your example. The Saraswat Gaudiya Vaishnava family is and always will be in your debt for restoring momentum to the virtually extinct current of Saraswat Vaishnavism. I offer repeated obeisances unto your lotus feet, which are more soothing than millions of moons and which inspire fearlessness. Now the second flower, Srila Gurudev's offering. Srila Saraswati Goswami Thakur was a direct associate of Sri Gaur. Once you heard his message of pure devotion, you could not bear to be separated from him. And though still in your tender teenage years, you gave up, as if they were bits of straw, the love of your doting mother, the infatuation of friends, the grand opulence and wealth befitting a king, the desire for prestige, and the thrills of an upper-class education. And you offered yourself wholeheartedly at the feet of your Sri Guru, thereby becoming supremely dear to him. Yes, and our Param Gurudev was one of the first. There's only very few people with Srila Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada when he left everything and joined the Math. And he was just a teenager, huh? Wow. In the early days of preaching Sri Gaur's message, when there were only 3 or 4 people living in the Math with Srila Prabhupada, and he was conceiving of his wide-reaching plan to establish centers around the world to preach pure devotion, he would say with firm conviction, "This Vinod will manage all of these centers." Srila Prabhupada would engage you in intimate and confidential services. He was so pleased with you that he adorned you with the title Kṛti-ratna, he whose achievements are veritable jewels, which was a divine utterance of Vani, of blessing, indicative of devotion. When the rogues of Kulia, the antagonists of pure religion, made their atrocious attack, you repeated the ideal of Guru Seva as shown once before by Sri Ramanujacharya's prominent disciple, Sri Kuresh, who is the exemplar of a Guru Sevak. By subduing various disruptive individuals and factions who opposed the practice of devotion, you served Sri Gaur's divine name, Sri Gaur Nam, Sri Gaur's holy abode, Sri Gaur Dham, and Sri Gaur's heartfelt desires, Sri Gaur Kam, in so many ways, which was the cherished desire, which was the monobhishta of your Sri Guru, and which you continue to do so. O you, who are the dearly beloved of your Guru, and foremost of Acharyas, I offer my respects millions and millions of times unto your lotus feet. Now the third flower. What time is it? Actually, I see I started late today, and so we're at 50 minutes, so I'll read for another 10 minutes. Yeah, because right now I've only been reading for 50 minutes. Okay, third flower. The first time you led Sri Dham Parikrama after Srila Prabhupada orchestrated his pastime of disappearance, you were victimized by the Kulangars, those who brought disgrace to the Saraswat Vaishnava family, who were antagonistic to Guru and Vaishnavas. Yet, you nevertheless exemplified the model of tolerance, That is, toror iva sahishnuta, being more tolerant than a tree. Despite an onslaught of unwarranted cutting remarks of blank, the name was redacted, you displayed the pinnacle of humility, Tranarapi Sunicha, being more humble than a blade of grass, Manada, deference, and Amani, modesty, resulting in the palpable bewilderment and astonishment of your godbrothers in recounting the said events. Satisfied by the modest service of your surrendered and exclusively devoted disciple Ananga Mohan Brahmachari, you blessed him with the attainment of love for Krishna and Krishna's divine abode, thereby establishing the blazing ideal of protecting and nurturing one's dependents. Hearts as dry as wood or stone melt upon remembering you. Seeing your disciples experience even the slightest difficulty causes you great distress, and you are always endeavoring to fortify them with the scientific knowledge of their relationship with Krishna. You are the concentration of Shri Gaura's compassion. You are the personified form and preceptor of the statement, Kirtaniya Sada Hari, constantly sing and chant the glories and names of Hari. I surrender my all unto your lotus feet. Fourth flower. You encompass the specialities of your predecessor acharyas while remaining luminous in your own speciality and originality. You established Sri Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti to correct the common erroneous notions that the purport of the Vedanta Sutra is Nirvishesh Gyan, monism, and that the followers of Shankar's doctrine are Vedantists. You established it to propagate the fact that Vedanta Sutra's true and only purport is Krishna Bhakti, and that Vaishnavas, specifically Saraswat Gaudiya Vaishnavas, are the true Vedantists. Preserving the distinction of your own bona fide Tridandi lineage, and at the same time preserving the special contributions of previous acharyas, you manifest to the tradition of the Bhakti Vedanta name. You are none different from Sri Jiva Goswami, Sri Baladev Vijayabhushan, and Srila Saraswati Thakur in the way you devise ever-new, wondrous, and unassailable arguments that refute Mayavad and various misguided anti-bhakti sects, and complement your Swapaksha, your family. We repeatedly perform arati to your lotus feet. Fifth flower. Armed with the resolute evidence from Scripture and wielding the razor-sharp weapons of your invincible arguments, you shattered the foundations of Sahajism, thereby delighting Srila Prabhupada and his dear associates. In Mayavadiki Jivani, you pulverized the fortress of Mayavad by the force of your innovated arguments and scriptural evidence, proving that it is really covert Buddhism, this Mayavad. You have displayed your dedication to following in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami and your wondrous power of creativity in the following articles. Janmashtami Darshanik Alochana, a philosophical study of Sri Janmashtami. Pradipa Shikha, the lamp's flame, that's the introduction to Prem Pradeep. We have that translated. Amar Vaktavya, the introduction to Sri Rupanuga Bhajan Sampat. I translated that. Chalani O Shucha, the sieve and the needle. With one profound little article, Nimbaditya and Nimbarka are not the same person. You silence the misguided, baseless chatter of those relishing Nimbaras from the Nimbarka Sampradaya that attacks the devotees, I guess. So they are relishing Nimbaras, which also means bitter neem juice. Your book, Achinta Bheda Bhed, which Srivas translated, you can find the entire thing. It's 24 articles printed over 2 years. So Srivas translated all of those, and they're on bigdrum.us. But yeah, your book, Achinta Bheda Bhed, served as a razor-sharp trident to dismember the three-headed demon of those who betrayed your guru. That's Vasudev, Sundarananda, and the prominent Sahajya Haridas. So you dismember the three-headed demon of those who betrayed your guru and their philosophies, which were opposed to the current of Sri Saraswat Gaudiya conceptions. Thus you served Srila Prabhupada's cherished ambitions and accomplished the grand task of protecting the Sampradaya. In Assam, within the most formidable fortress of the Hankar Sampradaya, and a huge assembly, you refuted all of their unfounded arguments like a fearless lion, establishing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Bhagavan himself and the preeminence of pure devotion. At the Akhila Bhangya Sanskrit Sammelan, the Bengali-wide Sanskrit conference in Chunchura, you showed no concern for public opinion by refuting the karma and gyan that are opposed to the Lord, as well as Mayavad and other misguided philosophies. You then established pure devotion to Krishna, thus highlighting your role as Acharya in preaching the uncompromising truth. I offer my repeated obeisances unto your lotus feet, O Acharya Kesari, O line like a teacher. Sixth flower. When you read the descriptions of Sri Rathayatra from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita during the grand festival of Sri Rathayatra, you became submerged in the ocean of Vipralamba Ras and began to weep, causing all the listeners to weep. You display such humility when extolling Srila Prabhupada's glories in front of his Samadhi temple in Sri Dham Mayapur, that even hearts as hard as thunderbolts melt and seep out through the channels of their eyes. O foremost of Acharyas, you are the personification of the ocean of Vipralamba Ras, and you hold the message of Sri Rupa and Raghunath so dear. I offer millions upon millions of obeisances unto your lotus feet, which are venerated by the hosts of demigods. Seventh flower. We're almost at the end now. In Sri Navadip Dham, which is Vraj, on the island of Sri Koladip, which is Sri Govardhan, in the region of the islands that corresponds to the Rasa Stali, you established the presiding deity of that part of the Dham, Sri Sri Koladev, in the Samiti's main temple. There you manifested the wondrous Sri Sri Radha Vinod Bihari Krishna. Wondrous Sri Sri Radha Vinod Bihari, which is Krishna embraced by Sri Radha, who is absorbed in the infinite ocean of Vipralamba Ras and imbued with the exalted state of divine love referred to as Arirudha Mahabhav. On the one hand, in a splendorous and unprecedented manner, you demonstrated your role as an Acharya in the line of Srila Rupa Goswami, and on the other, you revealed your own magnificent speciality and originality. O Rupanuga Acharya, may you be forever victorious. And now the eighth flower, this is the last flower. In an astonishing way, you have revealed the ideal of Guru Nishta and the most sublime principles of Guru Tattva in the verses of Srila Prabhupada Arati. Conviction in Sri Gaur Krishna in the verses of Shri Shri Gaur Govinda Mangala Arati. Conviction in Sri Vrindadevi in the verses of Sri Tulsi Arati. And Guru Nishta, Upasya Tattva, Upasya Nishta, and Achinta Bhedabhed Tattva. So that's the truth of Guru Nishta, we know the meaning of Guru Nishta, the truth of the deity, faith in the deity, and the truth of simultaneous oneness and difference, all together in Sri Sri Radha Vinod Bihari Tattvashtak. These songs are great, invaluable, and immortal gems of Gaudiya Vaishnava literature, and contain the most sublime illustrations of confidential philosophical truths, profound scholarship, peerless esoteric expertise, rasikata, and that fathomless flavor of love called vipralampa, longing and separation. In order to spread the message of Sri Chaitanya all over this planet Earth, you convened the grand sacrifice, the Mahayagya of Sankirtan. O most exalted of the teachers in the line of Sri Vyas, on the occasion of your appearance and its celebration, my sole fervent prayer at your lotus feet is that I too may be able to offer my life as mere kindling and fulfilling this great sacrifice, which is your cherished ambition. O ocean of compassion and foremost of acharyas, the specialities of your mercy are blossoms of divinity. They are infinite and innumerable. Never could they be counted. I have plucked but a few petals from them, and, in a childish effort, attempted to worship your feet in the way that one makes oblations of Ganga water to the Ganga herself. Kindly reveal a glimpse of your transcendental message within my heart, and grant me the eligibility to serve your dearest ambitions. Praying for mercy, Tridandi Swami Bhaktivedanta Narayan. Sri Bhagavat Patrika, Year 9, Issue 12, 1963. Okay, now we just hit 1 hour. So we will end here. And Jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai, Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Jai Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, Jai Srila Param Gurudev Ki Jai, Srila Param Gurudev's 128th Vyas Puja Festival Ki Jai, Jai Srila, and all the disciples and followers of our Srila Param Gurudev, especially Srila Bhakti-vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj, Srila Trivikram Goswami Maharaj, and our beloved Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhakti-vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Jai Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, and all of our Srila Param Gurudev's God brothers, like Srila Bhakti-vedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Dayat Madhav Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, and all of his other God brothers, and also the disciples of those God brothers and followers of those God bless. Jai Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Srila Gorksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupa Nuga Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Swaparshad Shri Gaur Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopigan Ki Jai. Shri Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Everyone observing this festival of Srila Nityalila Pravishra Srila Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava Gosvāmī Mahārāja's divine appearance Ki Jai. Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavascha Krishna Bhakti Padadevi Satyavataya Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat Pranams, Krishna Premavati Didi, Champak Mataji, Premamai Didi, Haribol, Dandavats, Amal Krishna Prabhu, Nri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarini Mataji, Kuruna Didi, Nitai Mukeshji, and let's see everybody on YouTube and Facebook. There's a lot of people today. 19 people. That's way more than usually there's only like 10. So Bhakti 1008, Raj Kishori Didi, Raseshwari Mataji, Shripad Bhaktivedanta Sajan Maharaj, Rohini Nandan Prabhu, Ganga Mataji, my mom and dad, Rishabdev Prabhu, Nishchinta Devi, Rasapriya Didi, and I don't know how to say your name, Prabhu, Kieks. Anyways, I don't want to mispronounce it, but pronounce to whoever you are, and also pronounce to all. Vangshiwala Prabhu. Okay, Haribol Vangshiwala Prabhu. And pranams to all devotees watching in the future, like Shachi Devi, Jaydev Prabhu, and Krishna Vallabha Didi, Ananda Pradayani Didi, Anuradha Mataji, Vrinda Didi, Krishna Mai Didi, Janava Didi, and everybody else. Jai, thank you so much for joining, and see you all tomorrow. What is tomorrow? Tomorrow we are going to go through the first half of the Shikshashtakam songs. Yeah. By Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the first half of Shikshashtakam songs, and then the day after that will be Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada's Vyas Puja Day, and also Srila Gaur Govinda Goswami Maharaj's Disappearance Day, and also one other associate of Srila Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Can't remember who though. And so we'll have a special program for that, and then the day after that we'll go through the second half of the Shikshashtakam songs, and then for 2 days after that, Manjulali Didi will be joining us, and she will go through the Namashtak songs by Śrīla Bhakti Prajñāna Thakur. So I hope you can all join that. Is there anything anybody wants to mention before we end the program for today? Okay, Dandavat Pranams. See you all tomorrow.